Hello and welcome to this edition of Inside the Americas. I'm Laura Sellier. Coming up in the programme, a grisly look into the dark world of motorcycle gangs. This week's violent clashes in Waco, Texas, leave the nation stunned. Plus, after thousands of interviews with almost every famous face-going chat show legend, David Letterman is handing over to the next generation. And after 8 long years, a mother and daughter reunited. We hear the extraordinary tale of Alondra Diaz Garcia, who was kidnapped by her father when she was 5 years old. But we begin with a deadly clash between rival motorcycle gangs in the United States. At least 9 people were killed and 18 wounded after violence broke out at the Twin Peaks bar in Waco, Texas. Police say they found huge stockpiles of weapons, including guns, knives and knuckle dusters. Aurore Dupuy has this report.
Bodies lying in a restaurant parking lot. Biker gangs clashed with clubs, chains and knives. Within seconds, authorities intervened. Over the past 2 months, policemen had been deployed at Twin Peaks, keeping an eye on its leather-clad customers.
It started in the restroom, quickly escalated to the outdoor patio bar area. Shots were fired inside the restaurant by rival biker gang members at each other. We had wounded inside, we had people stabbed, we had people shot, and we had people beat.
Nearly 200 people were arrested, more than 100 weapons were confiscated, and at least 5 gangs were involved in the fight.
It's about territory, it's about colors, it's about money, it's about hate, it's about violence. There was nothing shocking about it, it just happened to take place on a large scale in a public venue.
In the US, 8 motorcycle gangs are outlawed. The most notorious one is the Hells Angels, founded in Texas after the Second World War. It's thought to have up to 2,500 members across 27 countries. One of its bitter rivals is the Bandidos, created in the 60s. Its slogan, "Expect no mercy." According to the FBI, these 2 gangs are involved in drug trafficking and have formed alliances with different clans. Texas is a stronghold for biker gangs, but authorities say members of motorcycle clubs are not all considered a threat.
There are quite a few motorcycle clubs and gangs in Texas, I think because of the weather down here and because of the sense of independence and freedom that goes hand in hand with riding motorcycles. The individuals may look menacing, but that's just part of the culture. It doesn't mean that as a group or an organization that they are involved in illegal activity.
The investigation is ongoing. Bikers have been asked to stay off the streets, and police snipers have been deployed on rooftops across Waco to prevent any retaliation.
Now, US President Barack Obama launched his own Twitter feed this week under the name POTUS, which stands, of course, for President of the United States. His first tweet said, "It's me, Barack, yes, really." This is being billed as a new way for the president to stay in touch with voters directly. The president follows the First Lady, Bill Clinton and George Bush. However, he doesn't follow his former Secretary of State and 2016 presidential hopeful Hillary Clinton. The undisputed king of late-night television for over 30 years, chat show host David Letterman is giving his final interviews this week. Presidents, A-list actors, rock stars, celebrity chefs, you name it, they've all braved his couch. Now, though, Letterman has decided it's time to hand over to the next generation. Kathy Clifford has the story.
One last show to go down in history. On Wednesday, 68-year-old David Letterman brings a career which has spanned 3 decades to an end. At his own count, he's presented over 6,000 programmes. He's now set to devote his time to family life and his 11-year-old son. His fans understand, mostly.
No, it's the only good late-night show on.
It's sad that he's ending, but I can understand it. I'm semi-retired myself, and he probably has gotten to the point where he's done everything he can do.
Now, can I give you
Letterman kicked off his first evening talk show for NBC in 1982 and in 93 went over to CBS for The Late Show. With monologues, quirky interviews and plenty of humour, The Late Show became a rite of passage for every high-profile American. From politicians to film stars, the more famous they got, the more of a regular they became, with Letterman lapping up the comic potential.
We have, 4 minutes of our life together left?
Videotape.
We have videotape.
Videotape.
Of our life together?
I think so. Do you want to see it?
Yes.
All right, let's see it.
Be sweet.
I'm being sweet.
I missed you.
In January 2000, Letterman underwent quintuple bypass surgery. 5 weeks later, he was back on air, bringing with him his doctors as guests. He was also the first comedian back on screen after 9/11, just 6 days after the attacks. In recent years, his show has lost ground to younger competitors, more focused on social networking. Letterman's chosen his own successor, 51-year-old Stephen Colbert.
Moving now to the boom in so-called maternity tourism. Companies are making hundreds of thousands of dollars by getting wealthy Chinese women to the US just in time to have their babies. Why? Well, the child automatically receives US citizenship, something the parents hope will help their children secure a place at a top American school one day. But authorities are now cracking down. They say heavily pregnant women are, of course, allowed to travel to the United States. However, it is illegal to lie about the purpose of their visit when applying for a visa.
An hour away from Los Angeles, this neighborhood is filled with pregnant women. Most are Chinese nationals, not American.
Hi. Speak English? Hello.
Oh, no, sorry.
Where are you from? Sorry, where are you from? Where are you come from?
Mothers-to-be fly into the US to give birth. They come here during their last month of pregnancy, forking out up to $50,000 for the trip. For organisers, it's important to remain discreet.
No, I have no comments. Go, leave.
In China, several agencies have specialised in birth tourism. These websites offer a round-trip, accommodation and flights included, a visa, and the guarantee that their child will be born a US citizen. Chinese families can therefore evade the one-child policy at home and have more children in the US. From the outside, the houses in which they give birth are not recognisable. Those involved in the scheme are reluctant to speak.
Trouble. It's very trouble.
This woman's already got a baby boy and is now pregnant with her second child. She admits that up to 10 women can give birth here. These houses are usually packed with strollers, cradles and tubs, as shown in these pictures. US authorities have dubbed them maternity hotels. One man has agreed to talk to us. He's Chinese, lives in California legally, and runs a business based in China. He rents out this house to accommodate future mums.
They will consider their baby's future education. Actually, they're really rich, actually. Yeah, many families are very rich. And also, they don't think the Chinese weather, maybe the air pollution and maybe some kind of, it's not good. Yeah, so they hope their child to be international.
The trend upsets many Californians. In 3 years, the number of births went up from 1,000 to 20,000 every year.
Hi, Rosanna. Hi, you guys ready?
These people live next to a maternity hotel. They've decided to inform a lawyer about illegal activities in their neighborhood. Their aim, put an end to birth tourism.
Sometimes I get notes left on my car leaving me their address and essentially saying that they're an ongoing birth tourism home.
This is the home right here.
It's very odd that they have screens on their garage. A lot of times, a lot of the people who are doing these birth tourism in small homes, they'll convert the garages into bedrooms. I guess we can report them to code enforcement because it looks like a code violation to me right now.
They accuse Chinese women of using loopholes for their child to obtain birthright citizenship.
How many pregnant women at one time have you seen?
Oh, my goodness, I don't know.
What's the most?
Probably 4.
4 at one time? And very pregnant?
Very pregnant, yes.
A dozen homes have recently been raided. Under the law, pregnant women cannot lie about the purpose of their trip when applying for a visa.
And finally, after almost 8 years, a mother and daughter were reunited this week. Alondra Diaz Garcia was taken to Mexico by her father in 2007 when he lost a custody battle. After a long investigation, DNA tests finally proved that Alondra was the daughter of Dorothy Garcia. Alondra says she's now excited to learn about her family in the United States.
Tears from her family as 13-year-old Alondra Diaz finally arrives home. For 8 years, they had no idea where she was after her father took her to Mexico without her mother's consent. Having not seen one another since Alondra was just 5 years old, both mother and daughter are keen to make up for the missing years, and Alondra must begin relearning English.
We want to enjoy every minute, every second of the normal life that is going to come along. School, the weekends, staying up late.
I want to get to know life in the United States.
And the family.
And the family.
However, it's still a difficult change for the young teenager.
I'm very sad because I know that I'm going to continue to see him, but I will miss him.
Alondra's father finally came forward after a high-profile case of mistaken identity. A month earlier, 14-year-old Alondra Luna was dragged screaming from her school when a judge ordered she was the missing girl. It wasn't until Luna had already been forcibly brought to the US that a DNA test proved she wasn't Alondra Diaz. But the case doesn't end here. Luna's family travelled to demand an explanation from the judge, who refused to see them. Dorothea Garcia says she mistook the girl for her daughter because of a similar scar. She's now the target of blame from Luna's family.
It's Dorothea's fault that I was attacked. I have been told so many things. I was told it was my fault, and that's not right.
The family now say they'll be taking legal action.
Well, that's it for this edition of Inside the Americas. Many thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.